Well, here it is. Okay. And so just so you can see that there's no sleight of hand here, I'm going to hop out of here, take that down. Okay. So I'm going to BNC in, but I could come in through the cloud service, right? So hey, look, this is the same guy, and I can run this here, right? So I'll run it there, and hey, look, auto test, or I'll run it here. Hey, look, auto test, right? So through the cloud, through VNC, doesn't matter, right? So let's talk a little bit about some of this stuff, and I'm kind of going to run in three sections here. Right? One is connectivity, station mode, linked, right? That, and then we'll talk about sort of the monitoring. Analysis, scanning mode, if you will, and then last, I'll talk about survey, although it's so much more than that. And I know Keith doesn't like the word survey, so I should call it site analysis, right? But bear with me there. We'll dial in something. So I'm actually gonna work on this. So here's one way to use auto test, right? We've had this thing called profile groups, and I built out a profile group here, which is as we know there's going to be confusion about, do I have separate SSIDs for each band? Do I have the same SSID for all three? Do I break out a separate SSID for 6 gig? Do I break out a separate one for WPA3, right? Yeah, well, one thing you can do is build a single test, a single button start that will run the auto test and will verify all of those. And in fact, you can come here and see that, hey, look, in fact, here I connected on channel 11 at 72 megabits, and then that was on using WPA3. Then I connected on WPA2, about the same speed. It's also still on channel 11. Then I connected on 5 gig. Oh, I'm up to 680 megabits. WPA2, WPA3. Finally, here I am connected on the 6 gig band on channel 105. E is our notation for being in the 6 gig band. We'll talk about channel numbering as a source of possible confusion and in a little bit. And so that just gives you a sense of your ability to take this thing anywhere in your site and just be like, can I hit on every band, every authentication, right? And that's because we let you steer these things, right? I can come in here. Let's go into the configuration here. I'll put a little spin on it. So here I'm saying, hey, I'm going to force you, instead of us deciding what band to go with, as a client, I'm going to force it to 2.4 gig, and I'm going to force it to use WPA3. And so the fact that you can drive that stuff is key here too. And so well, that's just a canned profile, right? Well, it turns out I saved that whole thing as a, here's my bands and WPA test for my production network, but I can also come in and, let's say, load services test. So now, instead of going wider at sort of the connection layer, I'm going to go deeper, right? So Mist would call this client to cloud. So I'm going to come in and connect to my 6 gig AP. Connection times are taking longer these days. I've noticed. I'm seeing it on NICs. I'm seeing it on my phone. And I think. And we'll talk about some of that a little bit too, and what's really going on. So you can see here I connected on at 1.6 gig, 1.4 gig. You can see the rates changing. In fact, I can come in here and I can look at my buy rates and retries and connection and signal strength. I think if I move that over there, that might even go up. Yep. Okay, there we go. Further hot potato, cold potato. The drill. But really what I wanted to show here was, besides all the connection stuff, it's the rest of the network, right? It's DHCP. We're detecting second offers. I didn't set up my network for that, but basically seeing where the time is spent in DHCP, being able to do a path analysis to the DHCP server. It's DNS lookup times using, and I only have one DNS server here, but typically in enterprise, multiple DNS servers, gateway connectivity, but really getting into services tests. As I'm connected on this SSID, can I do, and this is something AirCheck G2 basically had ping and port connect, right? Well, here we let you, pull a whole web page, right? And we show you, because they're going to say the problem's the Wi-Fi, but you're really going to find out that it's the data start time, on the server. And so we break out the EURT, end user response time, if you will, into the clone. It could be all the time is spent in DNS, and they're blaming it on Wi-Fi, right? So we show you all that. Since we have and then if I want to check repeatability, I'll just go test again. That's pretty good. It's taking me about 150 milliseconds to pull Google. Okay, nice. And then since we have a browser, I can browse. This is I'm in we're still just a few months away, right? So you can imagine I'm running in development code on pre-production hardware, but you can actually browse over, and this will go to Chromium here shortly, but instead of WebView, but you've got the browser right there, so you can go to any web page, and even FTP, right? You can put a file out there on a server, and now you can validate that you're able to pull this thing down in 1.9 seconds in this case. Let me just do that again, and coming down, there we go, 1.9 still. Okay, so nice and consistent, good stuff. These service tests are incredibly rich, right? It's not just pulling the page, but and we talked about this a little bit with security last year, you can say, if you say, hey, if I'm on this network, I shouldn't be able to get there, or I should, or a pass is really for me to get an unauthorized or forbidden, right? You can set that, right? You can define what's a pass, and a fail may actually be a pass based on the SSID that you're connected to. We even look into the HTTP bodies, the content, right? So you can make sure that, hey, I didn't get intercepted by a portal along the way. Yes, sir, please.
Go back one thing. That was shockingly impressive, and you just went right through it. So you want to try that one more time?
Especially the response pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the reality of all the things, other than, in fact, maybe the only thing Wi-Fi might have responsibility for here is the data transfer, and the reality is it's probably going to fall on the WAN, right? But the time that it took to pull a web page was a function of converting the URL to an IP address, connecting, right? That's the SYNAC to the server. And if the server's bitty, and that's kind of the bottom half of the server, right? Can I get a connection into the TCP stack? Then data start is, okay, it got my request. Give me this web page. How long did it take for it to do its, I think they call it north-south traffic, east-west traffic. Anyway, how long does it take it to go after all of its things to pull together the response to the page that I requested? That's data start. How long did it take for it to utter the what's going to get rendered back to me? That's data start. And then data transfer is actually the part we're mostly in this room about, right? Which is and then how long did it take to send those 52 kbytes over the wire, and then the total time, and these all get limits, right? So you can basically, and you can set them even on like a per thing. But hey, if I'm on 2.4, it ought to take 5 seconds to pull down this FTP file. If I'm on 6 gig, it shouldn't take more than 1 second. And so all that is nicely configurable. Response time thresholds. Pick one of ours, dial in your own, whether or not we allow redirects, how much of the web page you need to transfer. Do you just want the header or the whole thing? Just a lot of controls here, and do I need to go through a proxy? So that's, and if any of these fail, of course, this icon here is yellow or red, depending on the severity of the connection. So or of the results.
Well done.
All right. So, so I showed you a profile for doing all the, boy, you can check all your WPAs on all your different bands and, with all your different SSIDs, and you can do that on one button. What a cool de-skilling. Drop ship that sucker out to Timbuktu. They can test their network now. You've empowered them to at least give you intelligible information back. Okay. So now, again, still just running it in my hand, and you're seeing the remote there. Next thing will be scanning, right? Boy, there's a bunch of ways to go at this, but let me come into Wi-Fi. Let's start with this. Let me kick off some traffic here. And so here's the channel map you've come to know and love. We're in a couple years ago we added retries, right? But here we're looking through the cesspool of 2.4 and 5. We've added, of course, the 6 gig map. Here's my APs. Here's my client count, and then as we scan through this, I'll start to probably pick up some utilization here, I think. And there we go. Start to pick up.
What's the scan time through? All channels are just
there we go. Yeah, it is. It's 210 milliseconds, and in fact, I'll talk about some of this. Our radio selection, issues. We'll talk about this here in a little bit. But basically, we can scan when you're doing surveys. We can scan faster. We can do it at the beacon rate, right? 110 milliseconds, let's say 104 technically. But when we're trying to get utilization, we have to hang out a little bit longer on the channel. But here you can see I'm running 160 megahertz wide transmission through on one of these guys, and then of course overlap map. You might notice something different here, right? I mean the OBSS thing is real, right? And so well, a lot of times you're looking at stuff and you're going, oh, everything's cool, right? Because we didn't have that notch there. Well, now we're showing you the primary notched, so you can immediately see, oh yeah, they're sharing the channel width, but they're not sharing the primary, right? So then it goes into the whole. Well, if I was Jim Bard, I could do this justice, right? That guy knows more about contention than anybody. But basically, it gets into the whole, primary contention versus secondary contention stuff. And so we've of course extended this with into the 6 gig band. And so in fact, here's 2 different APs I have running 160 wide, 97 to 125, and you can see that they're not sharing the same primary. And so that's scanning. Let's come in here then, our thing has always been come at the problem based on what the problem is, right? Are you finding a client problem? Do you think is a specific SSID problem? Is it an AP problem? Is it a BSSID? So let's say I come in and I'm looking at my SSIDs here, and I wanted to, let's drill in. I'll pick on my MIST system here, and so I'm looking at that, and okay, I have 2 MIST APs. I have one here, and I got one in the garage. I got and this is classic, right? Hey, by the way, where's that 6 gig AP from MIST that we were supposed to get from WLPC? Anyway, just remember that. All right, so unfortunately, I can only show you 2.4 and 5 gig MIST, and so here's that, right? And this is just exactly what you'd expect, right? 2.4 and a 5 gig representation on each AP. I can come in and look at the channels that they're running across, of course, but clients, right? And so this is where, of course, we try to shine, and so. Well, here's a client. It's an Amazon device, and I'm sitting there, and it's connected to this AP. And all right, so this is representative of a lot of headless devices, and you're going to see it more in IoT, right? You get these clients, they're just not talking that much. In fact, you got this whole targeted wait time thing, right? Supposedly that we'll use someday, but nevertheless, this thing is sitting there, and you want to. And you want to coax it out into the air so you can find it more readily. And he's probably a little chattier than I'd like, right? But if I looked at a Nest thermostat, you'd see an occasional dink. But anyway, so there you can see him. Well, how am I going to find him, right? And we have two ways to do that, right? One is since we broke the layer 2 ceiling, we don't just know him by his MAC, we know him by his IP address. So I'm looking at him from a Wi-Fi sense, right? Oh, here's his SSID and his channel and his technology and SNR and all this other stuff. But when you see an underlying link, you can pivot, right? So I can then click this and go from a Wi-Fi view here to a wired view. And now I'm looking at it from the discovery side. Well, why is that important? Because when we have an IP address, all of a sudden I've got an arsenal of tools I can throw at that client, right? On Wi-Fi with a Mac, I can locate them and I can capture, right? And that's about it, right? Well, now I can say, hey, let me just try path analysis. Let's see if all of our layer 2 switch forward mining stuff actually works. So here I am in my AirCheck. I'm connected to this gateway on 36 AC. He's connected to my SG300 switch. Okay, and that's in on this port, out on that port, 1 gig. He's connected to my ICX ruckus switch. He's coming in on the uplink there is on port 7. He's going out on 2. Oh, look, he's going to my missed AP. He's linked to 2.5, right? But my uplink is only 1 gig. That's interesting. Okay, fine, whatever. And then last but not least, my tablet is my little Amazon guy here is connected to my missed AP on channel 6 using N, right? So that's path analysis. And what's cool is in the background, we're doing all this discovery stuff, right? So you might be like, what's this yellow in the middle, right? Well, it turns out, so I can come in here and I can say, well, there's the stats, and we could be monitoring that. But basically, this switch had a problem, spanning tree topology change, right? This is the wireline equivalent of a BSSID changing channels, right? So here's the deal. Either of those are bad, right? The reality is in the perfect world, you'd never have switch topology changes, and you would never have APs changing channels on the fly. It's actually quite the opposite. We have one of the problems we have in here is we automatically detect when a BSSID changes channels. I can't go anywhere without seeing channel flap, and I mean just over and over again, right? It's like the RRM runs, and then whatever cadence it's on, 5 minutes later, you know what? I'm going to go from 1 to 6. Oh no, let me try 11. Let me, you just see this stuff going on that's out of control, dragging, channel change announcements. What's the channel change announcement coming out of the AP? Everybody come over here with me, all that. But this really speaks to when I say holistic troubleshooting, and now brought into an AirCheck, right? Used to be the purview of the 10K guy. Now, within your budget. So, wow.
I missed how how do you get all of this information just from a Wi-Fi scan? Or?
You just clicked on the MAC address of the wireless client, and it went like, Wah.
But you get that all from the.
We get it because we're linked. So at the same time that I'm scanning through the air here, going through all the channels, there's also discovery. That's this 100% thing. Running. There's also this network discovery where we're going out and doing ARP suites of networks. You can put extended ranges in. We'll go out and find all these things, and then we're bringing literally what was, like I said, its lineage is a $40,000 OptiView, right? This discovery library with, almost a couple decades.
You said you were getting the wired information? How do you
Yeah,
get?
are you
You're getting
linked over
ports.
wired or are you linked over?
No wires.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. No, no.
So
It's
from
like
a
taking
security
them back to
perspective,
the-
this is like freaking out.
Alarming, yeah. My lord.
I don't know if you remember my security story, but in fact, in Discovery, or I'll deviate from the path here for a second. In Discovery, one of our filters is SNMP agents, and I've gone into places, and I might have even told the story where the wireless LAN controller was on the public Wi-Fi. Right, and I was seeing it there, and all the VLANs and addresses and everything, right? So in this case, I've only got 3 SNMP guys here in the helm, but yeah, and we haven't really talked about Discovery yet, but you're kind of seeing it through the Wi-Fi side. So let me show you one last thing here, although I already tripped myself up on this, which was this guy, and I was looking at his RF and traffic stats, and he wasn't transmitting much. So please.
You're VNC'd into this right now?
I am VNC'd, yeah. This is my
But
VNC viewer.
over the wireless link itself?
Over the wireless link, at the same time that we're doing Discovery, I'm also VNCing it, and I can do it through Link Live too, right? This could be completely off net through my NAT, through the NAT going into the enterprise, right? Because Link Live ties it together. And so, yeah, I forgot to mention also we have Link Live Private now also, right? So we're just coming out with a containerized instance because some folks can't use, we've added so much capability in Link Live, but we have a lot of organizations that you're in EMEA, GDPR, and I'm sorry, the server can't be in Amazon availability zone in Virginia. It's got to be in Frankfurt, getting through the Great Firewall into China. You name it, right? So all the stuff I show you in Link Live is also now available as a privatized version you can deploy yourself. So let's see. So I was sitting here bemoaning that I was going to have a hard time finding this client that I have no idea who he is, but we did figure out he's got an IP address, and we so I'm going to pivot over here. I'm going to and now I'm going to fire off a ping on him. I could do a port scan. That might give me clues to who he is. I could point my web browser at him, maybe serving up a web page. So there's been times I've been like, oh, I know what that is now. It's not some goofy MAC address. That's his brother printer. And so I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to hit it here pretty seriously, 10 per second, right? Just to really coax it into the air. And so I'm going to come over here, and let's just come back over to our Wi-Fi view and our RF and traffic stats. And lo and behold, look at that. This guy's transmitting 10 times a second now, right? So now I'm seeing his RF footprint, and as a slightly experimental feature, in case it dies.
So you're doing tests that are manifesting themselves in like different test applications on the device in the background, and then your apps are pulling that all together.
All controlled via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's as if I asked you to ask that question. So I'm going to come over here and long press this guy, and I'm going to go split window, and I am going to pull my ping in here. So you see him transmitting at the top.
Oh, good Lord.
And now watch this. I'll stop my ping, and he should go quiet. Oh, look at that, quiet. Okay, start. He's back.
Wow.
So, I mean, now you can see, not your father's AirCheck. And so
How did you do that split screen?
Long press.
Long press?
Long press. We've got this app stack thing here anyway, right? Where you can come in and you can share between different apps at the same time. And it works remarkably well. There's a couple little corner cases we're still trying to clean up, but yeah, like here's a cool place to use it. While you're doing a survey, you can be watching our Wi-Fi analysis and be watching your top 3 in fact, we'll get into the sorts and filters, right? But what are the top 3 BSSIDs I'm seeing on this AP in the 2.4 gig band, right? As you're walking around at the same time, you're grabbing the survey points, right? So really some nice capabilities there. So I'll go back to full here. So we talked about Wi-Fi. Of course, we got all the discovery stuff in here. Discovery is just rich, right? I'll come in here. We have everything we've seen in the network. You can put off-net devices. We have problem detection. I can drill in on anything. Oh, there's my garage switch. There's the interfaces. There's the VLANs that's running. Here's how long it's been up. What interfaces are running? Oh, that's running. What's out ETH5? There's one device. That's one of my cameras. And so yeah, Reolink. Discovery, amazing. So I want to switch. So I talked about 3 legs of the stool on this, right? One was the auto test. I showed you the multiple band authentication canned guy. I showed you the deep dive with services test layer 7. We've talked a little about monitoring and discovery. And so the last would be survey, right? So I'm going to flip over here. Let me go to here. Okay, so now I'm going to take this guy and of course, you're not where the problem is. So the first thing to show is you've got a floor plan, right? And you can basically bring it into Link Live and calibrate it and all that other stuff. But how do you get it to the unit, right? So I can come in here and say, hey, I really need to shoot this guy, and then down to, and I could do any editing I wanted on it, but I need to push him down to just a specific unit. And so here's all my units that I just happen to have claimed to this particular Link Live stack. But I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to send him down there, and I'm going to apply this. Silly pop-up keeps coming up from or sharing.
Can you push that to G2 units as well for what's relevant to the G2?
You can. Yes. Yeah. You can put. We did actually add that to G2 late in the game, and so I'm going to hit apply here, and in fact I can probably do this. Let me pull this guy over here. So you see the notification bar here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And let's see if I can do it fast enough. Sorry, this keeps getting in my way. The Zoom thing keeps popping up. So I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to get back to my VNC. And in the perfect world, there it is. There is a notification. Hey, look, I got a new floor plan from Link Live. Oh, okay. Well, let's go take a look at that. There it is. So I've shot it down to the unit, and so it starts there. I'm just going to do a bogus survey here. And I'll go ahead and zoom in, and this is where it's great, right? You could be remote talking the person through. Hey, go in that workroom. No, that conference room really needs some attention. Skip that. Whatever, right? So, but let me go ahead and grab a couple of points here. Let's pretend I moved over there, and then I'll grab this guy, and then I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to push this guy. I'm going to upload him to Link Live. We have this thing called a job comment, and you put it in the unit kind of as you walk into a site or a situation, and everything you do, captures, screen captures, auto test results, surveys, snapshots, any of that other stuff goes up to Link Live. So now I'm going to go ahead and save the AirMapper files, and now if I came over here to Link Live, you can see it's coming up now, and give us a second to kind of grind through that guy. And one thing I will say, back on auto test, I ran that test, right? Well, you can take that and do, when I said we have lightweight monitoring, you can do, we call it periodic auto test. You can say, hey, basically, for the next auto test, come over here, top level, for the next, for the next 24 hours, I want you to run this test, over and over again, every minute, every 10 minutes or whatever, and push those results to Link Live, right? So, and we have a lot of customers. Like we have a point of sale customer in Europe that uses this to prove that their Wi-Fi, come to your table and swipe your credit card, that it's not their point of sale terminals. It's the customer's Wi-Fi or the WAN or something out of their control. So, well, I probably didn't need to divert there, but so here's my anemic survey, and again, pushed it down, ran the floor plan, come in here, filter and sort, and of course you can use the arrow keys to walk through here. I can filter on anything. In fact, if I came in here and I said, what are my SSIDs? I could pick, I should pick something I missed, but I'll grab that. And there he is, and take that down. And let's, oops, hang on, I did that wrong, sorry. SSIDs. You can actually double click on something in Link Live, and it'll unpick the other guys. So there's my SSID. We can see a little bit of change there. I can turn off the path. I'll show you some more surveys later, right? So mainly I wanted to show you, now this guy's where I don't want him, that we can have values and scales. And like I said, I don't want to go into this too much other than to say, look, that survey, that one thing that I just pushed up, not only pushed up the Wi-Fi survey, but also pushed up, I think I turned my Bluetooth off. I had my Bluetooth there. Also turned off my Bluetooth, also did my Bluetooth, and it's mind blowing how much Bluetooth there is in the world. And so I thought I might have it here back here's, I mean, again, this is just, sitting in my house, right? And it's just like, what is all this stuff? In fact, I forgot that I had this BLE beacon that I configured with iBeacon Eddystones and both Eddystones, right? And sitting in a bag that's been sitting there radiating for the last week. And in the case of the URL, I could even jump right to that, right? So anyway, story of my life. So not only could I come in and look at this from a Wi-Fi and a BLE server, but also just from analysis, right? Because this mimics on the product, right? We do sometimes you're looking at channels, sometimes you're looking at SSIDs, sometimes you want to look at physical APs and what they represent. And of course, all this is sortable, right? Look, these the mist and the Belkin here are competing for the number of BSSIDs, right? But filter on anything you want, right? And so APs, BSSIDs will always be the richest, right? But I can just immediately see my technologies and connections and clients and page over here, basic rates, and all this is filterable, right? I want to see, and these are progressive filters, right? And I'll show you this on the product in a second, but as you're sitting here going, well, I just want to look at the 6 gig band, fine. There's just my 6 gig, right? Oh, you know what? I really want to see, and since they're progressive, we take away things that don't make sense. 6 gig, I got OWE and WPA3. Well, who's running OWE? That shouldn't be happening. Oh, there he is, 101. Okay. Yes.
If I wanted to grab a PCAP of this beacon, is that easily doable?
Oh yeah, hang on.
I meant from the Link Life portal, like if I'm going through.
Oh yeah. You could. In fact, the beauty of this thing is you can drop this thing. I've expressed this theory. Last year, I think that I feel like you can get in the middle of almost any site, and I mean even like a Target Superstore, and you'll get 90% of the problems, right? Because Wi-Fi is just propagating everywhere. But yeah, the workflow for capture is in fact one of my favorites. So if I come in here and in fact, you know what? I bet if I was really good, I could do that same filter on the unit. So what did I do? I did 6 gig, and then I did security, and then I did OWE. You see the parallel here? And now if you came up here, you'd see that that's my filter. Now I'm down to, there's that ASUS. Now I'm looking at him. We'll talk about this whole circus in a second. And then come in here, do a capture. We automatically set up the filter channel width for the thing you're looking for. I'll start the capture. I will.
And is this going to capture everything to and from that
Yes.
address?
Yes.
Of course it
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We whenever you put a MAC in, we use it for both source and destination. Good question. And then I'm going to save it. In fact, I should have put a comment on there, Sam's baby. But I didn't. So let's come back over here to. So now I'm going to go into my file section, and there is a capture 104. Can't believe I've already blown an hour of your day. I'm going to export that. There's my PCAP. I'm going to come in here, click on that, and there is my guy.
And is all of this is all of this available not only the G3 but the Etherscope, the NXG, and the 10 gig?
Yes, yeah. Well, not the Wi-Fi on the 10 gig, but all the discovery and all that other stuff is there.
Was there a name for that when right before Sam disrupted you with his packet capture? you were on a Link Live page, kind of a grid-based view of the world that you're doing on. Does that have a name?
Wi-Fi, it's kind of like Wi-Fi analysis. So my point was really what I was trying to get to was at the same time that we give you a survey and the BLE information, that we also give you the analysis, and you can do all that same slicing and dicing. In fact, that's how we got here, right? It was I'd gone into 6 gig and I saw an OWE guy there and all that. But let's say you don't like our flavor of sorting. We got this great grid and you can move things and size them, right? All the table stuff you'd expect. But got a lot of the roll your own types here. This thing is always where I don't want it. I can go generate CSV. There's the CSV, click on that, and into Excel, and there's all the same stuff where I could build my Paretos to my heart's content, right? Pivot away. So you can see it, we focus a lot on workflows, that because that's really what it's about. And particularly trying to not have dead end workflows, like, oh, okay, I see that. What's next, right? So in fact, Keith, to your point, at the same time that I grabbed that analysis in that little bit of a survey I did, I can come in here and I have my discovery, right? And so this is the box view of the world, right? And I can come in here and find something interesting. Here's a switch. It's got a problem. It rebooted recently, right? All this is coming out of there. And so you can see, you can kind of do the overview beside detail thing here and look at, all these other things. Everything gets free string searches in most cases. I think if I did Cisco, I could see.
What was that discovery differences button?
Discovery differences. All right, hang on. So I'm in discovery and so analysis is the overview, this detail way to slice through it. We also do topology, right? And so this is my home topology, and in fact we propagate all the stuff through, and then what discovery difference is I can come in here and pick any snapshot and say. So I grabbed that snapshot, or I did a survey last week. I can actually come in and say, hey, I want to compare that to the one that I did here, right? And create a discovery difference guy, call it, my diff, I don't know, and generate that. And it'll actually show you that. Then instead of showing you warnings and errors, it will show you it'll show you, and probably nothing changed here, right? But it'll show you something did change. It'll show you these guys, and I've chosen to color differences on new or missing. So what was new in between those two snapshots was hang on, why am I even, was this new AP showed up on channel 9. I don't even, action tech, I have no idea what that is. Anyway, and what's cool about this is you got all the, because Wi-Fi, I can go into a target and basically map out a topology view of it, right? I don't even need access to the network, right? It's because now we can show you the edges, right? You want to see the edges based on, here, let me do this. And you want to see the edges based on SSID or channel number or media type or security type, and then same thing on the wired side. You want to see VLANs or ports or speeds or duplexes and all that. And you can, you got all these fun controls here, and this is all cool, right? I can grab things. I can turn off the auto placement and build it exactly the way I want, and then I can export it to Visio, or I can generate an SVG of it or a PNG of it, right? Any way I need to share it. And just to go one further on that thread, right? Anything you see in Link Live, you can build to share, right? So let's say you need to share with a vendor, you need to share with a colleague, you need to share with whoever, right? Well, I can come in here and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take these two test results. I need you to see those. I'm going to add those to an album. This is think Google Photos here, right? You got all these photos, but you can share these 3 to this person, and 2 of those 3 plus 4 others to this person, right? Same thing in Link Live, right? So I'm going to go MFD 7 as a share. I'm going to add that I've added these 2 to the album. There's our little tag. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to grab, hey, you need this PCAP and you need this, let's see what the screen captures. Oh, and you need this screen capture, right? All right, I'm going to go ahead and add that to the MFD7 album. And then I'm going to give you that topology snapshot. Oops, sorry, wrong one. And I'm going to add that also to, I think I already added them to MFD7. So, there he is. Oh, I tagged him MFD7. This is a share link, sorry. Get rid of that chip. And then I'm going to share, now I'm done. I'm going to share this album to MFD folks, and I'm going to pick that, and I'm going to say, I'm going to give you 3 days to look at this stuff, but it can be however long you want. And then I'm going to copy that link, and then I'm going to come over here. Now throw that in an email, share it however you want to share a link. See if this works here. I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to click that. No account, no licensing, no nothing. I'm in a 2 MFD share, and there are my 2 auto test results, my capture of my screen, and my analysis file.
You would do this like if you were doing like a 24-hour, run a test every 10 minutes, you would just grab all those tests for a site or for a point-of-sale organization and just say, here you go. Here's all the data you needed.
That's right. To an organization, to a neighbor. Look at what your APs do. Look at what your goofy 40 megahertz wide, 2.4 stuff's doing. You name it. Share it wherever you want, and that's all they get access to. One thing I'll say also to your question, Sam, is when you come in here, you can group how do you group stuff, right? You don't want to go click,
sure.
Right? So you come in here, click on one. I'm going to click on that tag. Now I've filtered down to, hang on, I've got a lot of test results. Now I've filtered down to to 60 of 15,000 test results, and then I can go select all, right? And then I can add those to the album, right? So I don't need to pick. We have, tagging's great, right? We used to have folders. Everybody sees folders now. Tags are good because you can multi-tag something, right? Because usually it belongs to more than one thing.
James?
Yes,
We
sir.
have a question from Twitter.
Yes.
Someone asked if they already have a legacy Etherscope NXG that doesn't have the 6E yet. Do they have all the features that you're showing today?
They have some. The stuff we could do in 2.4, obviously 6 gig was a new band, a new radio, new antennas, new switches for external antenna, right? A significant hardware change. I think you're hearing that throughout any vendor space, right? But we tried to put as much of the 6E stuff in, so they'll be able to see like the reduced neighbor reports in 2.4 and 5 gig APs, and they'll know that they're also running on 101 with the same SSID, or so they'll have a sense of channels and security types and things like that. Whatever we can glean out of things that we can see in the air on 2.4 or 5.
I think the question is more about all the other features outside the RF that you've been showing the last.
Oh yeah, that's all there. Yes.